Deborah Chambers, Vice President of Development and Partnerships at Central Union Mission, and I'm here today with another Mission Possible segment. I'm really excited for today's segment because I'm here with some people that I have known for quite some time, almost ever since I started working at the mission. I've been there for 12 years, and for the last 9 years, Hugo and Della have been volunteers at the mission. And what's so special about them and their volunteer experience is that they came when they were just young kids, 8 and 9 years old, and they were scheduled to come to the mission and do another volunteer project in early March, and the shelter got shut down because of COVID. The men were still there and we were still running our programs and services, but because of COVID-19 and all the implications and all the new protocols to keep people safe, they weren't able to come in and actually do hands-on volunteering. And so these two young people did something very special. They insisted on finding a way to serve. And so that's just what they did. So let's listen to them and hear a bit about what they did. Hugo and Della, welcome to the Mission Possible segment this afternoon.
Thank you so much for having us. We're so glad that we could be a part of this. We've known the mission for so many years now, and we've loved being able to work with you guys over the years and doing everything that we can for you. I think like this idea really just, the COVID virus hit us all so hard and so shockingly and instantly that this wasn't really an idea in our heads until like we had been quarantined maybe for like a week, and we were like, what can we be doing for people who aren't getting enough groceries, who aren't like fine being in their house quarantined alone? Like there are people out there who are really struggling with this, and what can we do in our house with the time that we have on our hands to help make that better for those people. So I think that's really how it started. And then, of course, Della's expertise with baking kind of got us to where we are now. So if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, so I've always enjoyed baking, and especially once the virus hit, I was starting to use a lot of my spare time to just bake because I really had nothing else to do. And so when we came up with this idea of bringing food for the shelter, I thought we could do desserts because that is what I like to bake the most. And so, yeah, we'll spend a few hours baking different types of desserts, and then we'll drive it and drop it off at the shelter.
Well, I tell you, it's been really fun because we have a lot of savory food at the shelter. We've been blessed with unfortunately, restaurants not being able to serve. They've been donating a lot of savory things, a lot of proteins and starches and vegetables to the shelter. So we've been fortunate in that regard so far, but we don't really have desserts. And so the guys are like you, right? They don't have a home to shelter in. They're sheltering in the shelter with 170 other folk. And so it can be depressing and stigmatizing to them. And so having sweet treats it was just a real special thing. So I really hope you know that it really means a lot to the guys. I really enjoy receiving those. Your expertise is paying off, Della. Well, so, let's see, you guys could be doing what a lot of other folk are doing, binge watching TV and playing video games and all that all day. But I feel like you serving others is a part of who you are, about how your parents raised you. It's intrinsic to your core to give back to others. And I would like to think that some of that came from your earlier years at the mission when you volunteered there. So do you mind sharing a thought or an experience of what it was like serving at the shelter many years ago?
Yeah, I would. I think the thing I remember the most is you guys were still on 14th Street, and we would always bring just tons and tons of candy, to the point where I would be known as the candy man. And the guys, when I would come in with the bags of candy, they'd be like, oh, the candy man is here he is. And like one of the things I looked forward to most about going to the mission was getting to go out while people were eating and pass out the candy and talk to them and like hear from them, because like they loved talking to us and just like tell us what went on in their day, like what was on their minds, like anything. And they were so compassionate and so grateful to have the food on their plate and the candy that we were giving them, that they really opened up with us. And I that was something that really stuck with me. And then like on the drive home with my mom, I would talk about with her, and just like that impact really stuck with me. And I think like that is kind of what keeps it going in my mind, like that there are always people out there who need a little bit extra support, and you can always be doing something to help give that to them.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think my favorite part was probably working in the kitchen and like helping to set up the food to give out. And I really enjoyed kind of like, it felt like I was part of something bigger. And I think that feeling that I would always leave with, of just like, you know, feeling like I've done something actually worthwhile. Like that was an amazing feeling. And I really enjoyed like going back and constantly seeing the smiles on the guys' faces when we would hand out the candy and the food. And I think that's definitely stuck with me.
Awesome. You know, what you're saying to me reminds me of this fact that I know to be true, is that it's kind of natural. It's what we do when people are in need. It's a good deed. It's the good deed to go help someone else, right? But there's this dynamic, there's this need that's centered to who we are as human beings, to find connection, to be connected to somebody else. And in this social distancing time, I think a lot of people are struggling with, how can I be connected to other people? It's more than just the social, it's more than just the activity. It's part of who we are, how we need to operate, our brains, our chemistries, we need connection. And what happens is that when you reach out to help someone else, to connect with them, especially somebody that is in need, it turns around and really benefits you more than you probably help them.
Yeah.
I mean, do you find that? How do you find that? How is helping even from home benefiting you?
I think the main way is, I think it's hard to feel like after a day has gone by in this corona quarantine period, where like I feel like I've been fully productive with my day, or like I've done like something like Della said, worthwhile with my day. And like the days where I really feel like I've done something worthwhile are the days where I've spent hours baking like brownies, for example, and like drive them down to the mission. And like those are the days where I like actually feel like I've done something worthwhile. And I think like it's hard because we're in online classes, and like those, it's hard for them to feel as real as like being at school. So I think like there's a kind of like lack of this meaning as we're at home with not much to do. So I think it's really just about like finding how you can make the biggest difference without even leaving your house, or just like driving to drop off some brownies.
Yeah, I agree. And like also one other big thing, especially for me, is that I just have a lot of fun doing it. Like I love baking, and like it's just really fun because I'll listen to music, and like I'll like dance around while like mixing the ingredients, and it's just really fun. And I think that's definitely something everyone could use during this time.
Absolutely. Now you guys did something, it was great that you were doing this and bringing all these wonderful treats to the mission. And I just want to let everybody know that Della and Hugo are following the right protocol. So they're wearing their mask, and we're all social distancing when we do these drop-offs and things. But something else that you guys have done is that you've gotten others involved. Tell me how that happened and what they're doing.
So I think I know I have a lot of bored friends right now too. So I was like, and I know a lot of them like to bake. So I reached out to a few of them just to see if they'd be interested in baking, because I'd been hearing like, oh, I was so bored yesterday, I made like 50 cookies or something. I'm like, well, you know what you could be doing with those cookies. And so I've gotten a few of my friends to bake like different things. I think one of my good friends, Sadie, last week baked like 100 something cupcakes that we brought over. And so like, it's definitely hard for us to make 200 pastries every single day. It really helps when we can get other people in on it. One, and two, just so we can help kind of like spread that feeling you were talking about of being able to help out and like do good for an important cause. I think like that's a really like good feeling to be able to spread among my friends who aren't doing so much right now.
Yeah, so I reached out to a few of my friends who like have been telling me they're just doing nothing all day. And I mean, it depends on the dessert, but if it's cookies or brownies, like it's pretty simple. And so, but it's still like really fun and you get the same feeling of helping. And it's not that I don't like baking 200 of things, but it is very helpful to have a few other places that the baked goods are coming from.
Absolutely, absolutely. It helps us out a lot. In fact, I have a few quotes from some of the guys. I just wanted to share them with you. So you can't, see them eat the food, but I can tell you what they're saying about it. This is from Mark. He said, I was so surprised to see the brownies and the cookies. He said, and when the cupcakes came, I was like, it can't get any better than this. John said that it took him back to his childhood memories of when his mom was baking sweet treats for the family. And then Patrick said that he was really touched. He almost cried because he couldn't believe that people would go out of their way during this time and bake for them. So, it might seem like something small. Yeah. It's a cookie. Yeah. What can a cookie do? But listening to these guys in the shelter, it humanizes. It's very humanizing to have that experience. And so I just wanted to bring you on our little segment today, Mission Possible, because you're making the mission possible. You're making it possible because it's difficult for the guys to shelter in place with 170 other guys, and they don't have the freedom to go and do. And so we're doing all we can to have more classes and different things that we can do internally, but you are helping to make a difference and touching them in the heart in a place that, we can't always get to.
Well, we are really trying to do that. And thank you so much for having us on to be able to talk about this. And just the all work you guys do at the mission is so amazing. And that's why we feel continually inspired to come back and keep volunteering and bringing in goods. So thank you so much for all the work that you guys do.
Thank you.
And listen, if there are some other teenagers out there, what would you say to them about getting involved and serving?
Well, I would say I definitely know you have time on your hands. So don't say that you don't. And there is no better time to help people. People need help. And I think that we are in a global pandemic, but I think that expression really applies all the time. Now is always the time to help people. And I think you'll find that once you do, you will feel a lot better about yourself. It's really amazing what helping people can do for them and for you.
Yeah, I think just a lot of teenagers are probably lacking motivation right now. I know I am in some situations, but I think I definitely gain a lot of energy and just I feel a lot more fulfilled when I do this. And I think even if you're not the type of person who would normally bake something, I think you'd be surprised how good it can make you feel.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much. We're so grateful for you guys. Been volunteering since you were young kids and continuing to do so. I'm really proud of you, proud to know you. and your parents, of course, and just keep doing what you're doing. Okay.
Well, thank you so much for having us.
Listen, everybody, if you'd like to be like Della and Hugo, and you'd like to help out the mission, please visit us on the website at missiondc.org/volunteer. And there you can connect with us and find out things that you can do to help during this pandemic. Volunteers really do make a difference. Because of you, the mission is possible. Take care.